welcome to Dripping with Meaning at the noon hour today on Friday, July 22nd. My name is Nicole Marie Campbell, and I am my co host, who I'm going to let in a moment do the wonderful show Dripping with Meaning. We discuss possibility and attitude and ideas around self growth in the spiritual realms. We talk about lifetimes. We talk about what we're initiating in as contracts for soul. And we also today will be discussing negative ego, positive ego, and how to stay on top of your positive ego in order to love oneself more and create the life you want. With that being said, I'm going to let in Lee. Lee, are you there, Lee?
Hello there. Hello, hello, hello.
Lee is in her new Virginian home and she is happier than ever with it.
I love my house so much. I'm in West Virginia, but
Okay.
I'm literally like two houses, three houses away from the Virginia border. So it's very interesting. Um, and I love this house. I love this town. It's challenging, but
Mm-hmm.
am trying to embrace it. And,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm doing all the things. I'm doing all the things. And of course, there's been a lot of very strong energies coming through for a lot of
Yes.
people,
Oh, wow.
continuing that big tower moment that we were in the March, April, May time.
Mm.
And uh, I've had a lot of challenges as well. So it'll be
Mhm.
interesting what comes through with what you want to talk about today, because I found the topic really fascinating. How have you been doing?
So I have been going through karmatics, patterning, repatterning changes, but I also have been awakened on a very high level in the galaxy. So it's like a
Mm.
lot of Mother Earth for me still, but I'm finding with those that I'm channeling from other nations in the sky that are not speaking our language, but they're showing me a light language and they're showing me transition and more of my mission in this lifetime for my vessel. So it's a lot about self protection, self nurturance, understanding, not taking on and coping with others. I've actually just was at the table about a new business that I'm designing. So it's not a spiritual business, but it's a business based on treats and confection. So we're designing a company based on munchies. So if everyone here knows, like when people are enjoying 420 behavior, or they're like late night watching a movie, we get the munchies.
Y'all, she's in Canada. It's legal in all of Canada. So she's
Yeah.
in Canada. She's not in the United States. So, and I find this really fascinating. And I think that it ties into something that I say and try to drive home to the people that we connect with over and over again. It's not about the path that you use to get there. It's about what you're getting from it. And in the one hand, you said you're getting it from extraterrestrial, federal, all that stuff, but that's
Intergalactic,
not
oh yeah.
right. And that's not for everyone. But the things you're learning are the exact same things that people who say, "Oh, I connect with Jesus. I'm learning how to forgive. I'm learning how to let go of things. I'm all of these
Yeah.
same, it's the same message if you're, holding crystals and dancing naked in the moonlight,
Yeah.
whatever it is that gets you to that
The
space
message
of
you came for.
unconditional love.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's all good. It's all the same lessons. It's all the same experience. It's all the same goal that we're walking towards and
And I think
have
like
been
that was
going
the biggest
through.
thing, I think the biggest thing in my hurdles of self was that in my own awkwardness, it had to happen on such a unforgettable level through my COVID experience and then beyond every evening now, when I'm on a good track where I'm really strong or not, what I actually, as my soul being entity, attract into my experience, and to honor that with other people that I have a spiritual sight. That it just, I get the guides and I kind of don't like that. But
Right.
I do really like the fact that I see spirit and I see spirit in
Mm.
all things. And if I turn on my lens, right, that I'm welcomed by many entities and many beings. And it was in the book that I was reading. I have it right here because she spoke about it. And in this portrayal, in this book of her journey, it's an 1111 trilogy, a book written in 1991. She, in the book, the main character is going through the same thing, where there is this ongoing attachment to lifetimes and places and spaces that take her to and back out to the Orient Belt, and then
Yeah.
reliving in lifetimes of coming into self, realizing her true soul destiny and her entity and her being. And in that, then we say we are all welcome. And in the universe, we are all welcome. So there's no differentiation in the universe. There's just your own being acknowledging its place within, you know, trillions of beings and energetic portals and opportunities, right? So, yeah, for sure, it was hard to come into that. But for me now, I feel like if I don't turn it on, it's just going to turn itself on in a really awkward way for me. So, I'm trying really hard to just work with the energies. That's
Yeah,
where
for
I'm at. Yeah,
sure. For sure. It's kind of like when you don't use it, it builds up like air, like pressure in a balloon.
really
And
does.
so, and the more you say, no, I don't accept
Yeah.
this. No, I'm not seeing this. No, I'm working. Leave me alone. You
Mm,
do have to make up that time at some point. At least that's what I've found is that if there is an insistent thing coming through saying, we need you to turn your monkey mind off and go into that space because we got
yes.
shit to show you, or we have things you need to see.
Show us.
I get in that, because sometimes you have to live in the 3D world at the moment. They hit you in the middle of the Walmart, you
Yes.
can't necessarily lie down on the floor in the middle of the kids' underwear aisle and have a moment. But if you let it keep going away, then it will build up and it can explode in moments where you do need to be focused and it might be a little more difficult, to do that. So it's always I count that as part of self-care
Hmm.
is giving myself that time to turn that off so that
Hmm.
whatever needs to come through can come through.
No, and
And
it's the language too. Like if you
yeah,
are feeling confident in the language of your stream and you're building based on those building blocks in your 3D experience on Earth, you kind of can learn to take the time to realize it's where it's coming up for a reason. And I mean, it's all the reason and it's all the time. But the more discipline that you are allowing in your experience, like I find like with the 4 a.m. wake ups, with the messaging and the energetic shifts, that now my body mind wants to do more work early. So I start at work earlier. And then so now it's scheduling, right? Like you literally, why writing spiritual backpacking is backpacking your existence into your spiritual existence into your physical existence. Oh, Lisa. Lisa's here. Hi,
hi,
Lisa.
Lisa.
Hi, beautiful. Yeah. And that's the big clencher for me is awakening your divine at any time. Like even
Right.
coming into doing the show again today, I was like, oh, wow, like I love being in this mode. I haven't been in this mode for a while. And it does promote a lot of really positive energies around me. And it does
Yeah.
awaken a lot of my vessel just being in communication. Like I feel the light permeating right now a lot nicer and a lot more relaxed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
So,
I think it's really important. There's a thing that I've been doing um, basically since I was had my awakening. Uh,
what do you think?
Maybe
Do you want to do the
we
project?
haven't. We're not official. We're not official yet. But yeah,
Yeah.
you will discuss and we'll put up a little poster thing and send it out and let everybody know our
Friday
official.
feels
Because
like
like she
a
said, we're
great
going to build
anniversary.
structures. So when we go out in the world, when we go through our day, we tend to think of these, what we were just talking about, these moments where you turn off the monkey mind and you allow whatever to come through, right? This connect to intuition, connect to your peace, connect to unconditional love. And we tend to think of that as a production, right? I need
Mm,
to light my candles and I'm going to ring my bell and I'm going to lay down and put the crystals on and I need to take 20 minutes. But
mm,
I have found a really amazing practice. You can do it 10 seconds at a time. If you're
Mm.
standing in line at a grocery store,
Yeah, you can practice.
connect yourself to that divine and give yourself the goosebumps. The more that you do it, it becomes like a muscle. And when you can do that, you don't become reactionary to what's happening. Because if somebody in the world makes you angry, you can literally have a 10-second pause or a 5-second pause where you literally connect to that divine empathy, unconditional love. So you're not reactionary from the primal
Hmm.
disrespect, anger, hurt, pain programs that we have built in
Spiraling
lifetime after
up and
lifetime.
spiraling down, and
Right.
the spiral of understanding the density in the emotional world, right? Like emotional density has a lot of practicalness to it. The
Mhm.
worst I have felt and allowed, and the challenges that I've engaged have set up this platform that showed me innately in my human experience in this lifetime, I had collected those fears. And it didn't
Yeah.
change actually in the groundwork of, if you picture a garden, they were kind
Mhm.
of really interrupting the growth of my roses, which is
Right.
myself, right? Like there's just certain behavioral things that we do based on things we learn in this lifetime, that once we can weed that garden out and understand that was just a lesson, right?
Right, right. And really pulling out the roots, not just clipping off the green stuff that's showing above. Because if you are in a garden and you only clip out of the garden the stuff that's showing with your little scissors, the roots are still in there and it's
Yeah.
going to grow back.
You need to get the
It's going
weed
to grow
gone.
back.
You just have
Right.
to
You
take
got
the
to
weed gone and
really,
like, shh, shh.
yes, yes, you got to dig it out. You got to kill that weed, murder it, let it go.
So we be
It
doing some
makes
of
me think
this.
of
I
that.
put this up here because, like, I feel this is what we do the most, being spiritual guides and understanding spiritual destiny. I think we're just, minus the outfit. I don't know if I would do that outfit, but in all honesty, there's some cleanup going on here.
I was gonna line my mouth up with the rainbow
Okay, wait,
in the
do it
picture.
again.
Right?
Yeah,
Pretty good, pretty good. Not bad, not bad.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, such a dork.
And you know what? If spiritual destiny was neat, if it was neat and it was meant to be neat and stay neat, then no progress would be made.
That's right.
Right. And I know
Absolutely.
everyone's like, oh, you're creative. So you like to get messy. I'm like, not necessarily true.
Not
I
really.
like really can get real messy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I think it's clean up, get back up, dust it off, look at that, clean it up inside feeling where you're ready and universe is ready there with you already. So that's the beautiful thing, to look at yourself as a being of light
yeah,
and a density
yeah,
planet that's having hard times and is having good
yeah.
times.
On
And
top of on top
there's
of what we're
there's a
getting.
there's a bit of like real juice to your body once you really feel and experience those things, that it becomes time honored.
Yeah,
It
for sure.
becomes part of the echo of time for you,
Yeah,
that it was a mission for you to understand. And it sounds simplistic sometimes, but it's very complex,
yeah.
right?
Right. And what you had mentioned earlier about collecting these events, these hurts, these, traumas and holding on to them, it reminds me of this song from the early 2000s called Jar of Hearts. Hi, Michelle, welcome. Called Jar of Hearts. Who do you think you are running around leaving scars?
Yeah.
Collecting your jar of hearts
Hard.
and tearing it all apart. And I had always thought of it as someone else. But when you said that line, I really started thinking of it as self-focused. Like, who do we think we are going around and holding on to all this bullshit and
Yeah.
all these times that we got hurt and
Yep.
living that over and over again in the now? Like,
Oh,
letting go of that is such a huge thing. That's a big shift on that song. I like that. I'm gonna have to listen to it again. I belt that song. I sing it so loud. Now I'm gonna have to like sing it with a completely
oh,
different
someone
meaning.
else
I
does.
love it.
Oh, look who's here, Sam. We have a
Hi,
Zoom.
Sam.
Hi, Sam. Hi,
we're
Sam.
we're trying out this spot. We're trying out the Friday noonish spot. We'll see what happens. We'll see what
And you
happens.
should, because
Juju.
who are you for? And I know the song as well, Lee. I think what it was and what it is and what it procures into when we go through the pain of it in our
Hmm.
humanness is basically like the ability to let go in love. But
Yeah.
it's not a love that has a physical demand. So I've been really good since a young age at understanding attachment, being set that I studied Buddhism from the time I was 13. And when I go back to my Buddhic roots, one of the major laws that they deal with is non judgment, right? Not judging oneself, not judging others, and
Yeah.
release of that material bind, the anger, the fear, the resentment, the regret, the downward part of the spiral, which I
Yeah.
think is our anchor in the end, because once we're weeding it, we'd be gone, we'd be gone, we'd be gone. I got me. I know me. I love the vessel I'm in. I'm in this lifetime. I'm self acceptant. I've got the lesson. Thanks to universe, mother, father,
Right.
earth, all the gratitude stuff. We elevate and we elevate. And as we're elevating and elevating ourselves, we're like, wow, I don't have to wear this mask anymore. You know, we
Hmm.
talked about it earlier that we've been so close in our destinies and densities as friends and co-hosts that we really can't do it anymore with each other.
Yeah.
And that is the mark of a beautiful part of creating a life you want, that is individual, that shows
Hmm.
up as itself, you know, that releases the confinement of the realities created on earth that they, as those that participate, think are convenient and easy and fun, that just don't work for us souls that are older and more experienced, right?
Yeah.
So who cares if we have to batter up and get into lessons and forgive, and this stuff is easy for us, I
Yeah.
think.
And the the universe is really like wanting me to elaborate on this thing.
Okay.
The vulnerability that is necessary to
Mm,
truly properly put it in quotes, properly to effectively process a pain that you're going through, a hurt, a fear, a whatever it is that you're going through, right? It's really important to identify, are you retelling the story to validate your pain? Are you retelling the story over and over again to 15 different people to try to get some sort of feeling better? Or are
mm.
you actually exposing and grieving and mourning in this as you tell the story for release?
Maybe. I mean, the physical
Right. So,
body.
which you have to really, the one that heals is the release when you are vulnerable enough to
Yes.
say something real to the
Mm,
person that's listening, not just narrate the pain from an external place, but
mm,
to express from a place where you are feeling the pain
mm.
rather than talking about it. And I think that
Feeling
that
it.
transforms how we look at it and how the universe can come through the other person, because when we're narrating, we're storytelling. The universe doesn't have to tell us anything because we're making up the story and they're like, all right, if that's what you want to think. But when
Mm,
you're just pure emotion, then the
mm.
universe can come through and deliver through this person you're speaking with or through your
Yeah.
own, grief, and actually do some healing and some releasing and some understanding within.
Which is called transpersonal psychology. It's taking the actual development of the human in that lifetime, and it's looking at all the bits and pieces and particles, which I think and I view as very important. Every piece of the story is important.
Hmm.
And as you start to feel all the pieces of your story are important and things are unlocking and you're able to look at it, you're able to heal it, you're able to nurture it, you're able to take it back, your power of this lifetime, your higher self power comes in, which is the point of this conversation, which is really cool. Because
Right.
we're talking
Yeah.
about, you know, a little bit of this. This is just example of, but when your ego wants to stay in that loop, it seems like you're never going to get out of the problem.
Right.
Although uncomfortable and comfortable, it's safe, and the mind stays just what's in note. But when we let go to our intuition, calling what is gradual change, painful at times. I know we have to go. I have to do this. I'm so sorry. I'll put my pretty hair this way. And then pure consciousness can see past the repeating cycles of the mind and urges you to move beyond. Pure
Right.
consciousness is your awareness of yourself times 100 million, because then you're souping up with, the vibration of where you came from, where you want to go to, and you're making a choice landing at this
Yeah.
crux, your own,
Yeah.
in the
Right. So let's
universe.
stay with the loop for a moment before we move on to the spiral. So, loop type experiences in our regular life would be, I always meet people who take advantage of me. Every
Amen.
man I'm with cheats on me. I
Yeah.
can't trust anyone out in the real world. Every time
Mhm.
I look out there, the world is going to hell in a handbasket.
Yes.
Um, Nothing ever works out for me. Or every time I trust someone, they steal from me, right? All of these
Yes.
things, this is a loop that we stay in. So the thing happens where a person hurts you, right?
Oh, I
That
was there.
creates this loop. And in that loop, you are telling yourself that every time someone does X behavior,
Mhm.
then I will react in saying, every time someone comes into my life, they steal from me, or whatever that is. And by saying that again, after that happens, now we believe that and we just blame it on the other person, which obviously they did the thing. But we have to do the work to come out of the loop and
Mhm.
into the spiral. If it keeps, especially if you've done it 2 times, 3 times. I know people that have had the same boyfriend or girlfriend with a different
Mhm.
face but the same behavior over and over and
And
over
over
again,
again.
and I will count myself in the same pattern with my ex, which we repeated the same pattern like 13 times in our 20 something year marriage. And it's recognizing that loop and choosing to think differently, to have different intention, to take different actions, and to say a different word so that you start upwards on the spiral, because the loop is just the bottom part of this spiral that you're going in a circle. If you don't go on the up ramp in the parking garage, you stay on the first floor. So now we went on the up ramps
Yeah.
and you go upwards.
Yeah. And actually in the loop, you are, and this is the most important thing, I think, is you're creating from a space in your mind that believes in lack.
Right.
And you don't believe, due to, and you put it on the cause of government and etc. and other people, that the outcome could be possible, that I could have designing artists show up in a American platform and own a 24-story building where it's filled with beings of light that work for me, and we design eternally into the end of creation. I don't know, say that is my dream. But
Yeah.
I would only dream Nicole Marie Campbell in Canada and do that if I didn't venture out like the fool and think that I knew everything I was going to need out there, meet up with my emperor, meet up with my inner empress, continue down the path, fall over again, get back up, fall over, get back up, to
Yeah.
wipe it all off and say, wow, like, really, am I that afraid of which lifetime it is or what I want next? Am I making
Right.
excuses? Like, I'm the
Yeah.
one that's holding my fate in my own hands here. And then I'm going to blame everybody else because they're getting in my way
Right. Self
because I'm paying
accountability is
attention
so
to it.
important.
Like,
Right. Right. Because it's not just about what they did to you, but then you have to take accountability for how you reacted, what
mm,
you did that instigated that, whether it was a good thing or a bad thing. And you really have to pay attention to your role in it. And that sometimes means eating a little bit of crow. It means looking much deeper, on each thing. It's almost like each thing that we peel away actually adds to our the gravity to go deeper. Every time that you peel away a layer, like Shrek of an onion, right? Ogres have layers. Ogres are like onions. Every time that you peel away this layer, you get to a more pungent space. But then you come to a spot towards the middle of the onion where it starts to get sweeter, because it's so much easier to peel and you're not crying constantly because
yeah.
you're kind of adjusted to it, and you work through all the outside pieces, and this is the reward part where things are sweet and it's a beautiful joyful weeping, like that's this process that we all keep going through over and over again in either the loop or in the spiral, or a little bit of both. Sometimes we stay on the same parking garage level for quite a while.
So we do a little of this too. What I find is we go from, at this point when we're getting in and out of the loop, we kind of teeter totter back between, what version your mind is creating and what version you're conditioning. Labels of self and others to not agreeing to being labeled, being past and future oriented or now oriented. That's huge. Fear
Yeah.
based or love based, serving self, serving others, looking outward, looking inward. It's so reflective. And that's like, I just want to say, like, that's the most beautiful part of this work is
Yeah.
everything ends up becoming a reflection of your consciousness, what you've
Right.
attained to, what you want to do, and the parallels that you'll find once you're in the work. It's like you meet yourself and other people all the time. Like, I'm like, how
Yeah.
is that possible that I met this person and they're so much like me when I was that age? Exactly. Like, where I'm like, it brought it up for me, my uniqueness, the beauty of my journey. You know what I mean? It's in other people too. Oh my God. Like, I'm in a collective here.
Right. Right. That whole ego versus soul, as it's written here, it really brought to mind the biblical passage, the meek shall inherit the earth. It's not
Mm,
about weakness, it's about humbleness. It's
yeah.
about taking out that ego. And that is the true connection to
Yeah.
divine, is when you're able to let go of that.
Yeah.
And there's
So,
that accountability right
yeah, show
there.
up for
Start
yourself.
showing up for yourself.
Can we get to a reading, Lee? Because I really, after this part of the segment,
Yes.
feel like, Lee, this is where we start to need to ask. Let's ask universe what's going on right now in that, state of development. Where are we as a company? Where are we as our fans are sitting watching as a collective? Where are we going that we have the power now to intuit and to understand universal energy? And how does that play out for our growth?
All right. Well, let's pull a rune for the room.
Okay.
So I've been reading runes since the 90s for anyone who is new here. And what I'm going to do is pull on the energy of the quest that we are going on, the energy of this journey that we're moving forward in. And then we're going to address what's our challenge and how we can best harness that challenge. So what's the energy for anyone watching now and in the future upon the replay? Thank you, Rihanna.
I
Okay,
know.
we have Fehu, and Fehu is the rune of nourishment and possessions. So it's like the pentacles in the tarot deck. So we're looking at nourishment, fulfillment. I do always like to read directly from the book. The universe, kind of guides me to the pertinent things for the message that they want to get across. And so we're just going to go. This is number 11 in case anybody is interested.
We're
We have
11s too.
possessions, nourishment, and cattle. So it's the rune of fulfillment, ambitions satisfied, love shared, rewards received. It promises nourishment from the most worldly to the sacred and the divine. For if the ancient principle, as above, so below, holds true, then we are here to nourish God. It looks for deep probing, looking within, which is exactly what we were just talking about. Look with care to know whether it is the wealth and possessions you require, or rather self-rule and the growth of will. And that's something Nicole and I have been discussing privately, that we're probably going to create a show of having the courage to actually embrace the freedom and free will once it's given to us. It's more of a female-based show, but for anyone who has felt oppressed in their life or held back. That's a future show. And it talks about being mindful to conserve what you have already gained. Okay, so not to collapse yourself into the ups or the downs. So let's see. We'll pull a card.
I think I feel called to as well.
Yes,
So for
please.
everyone out there, I got a new reading that I'm going to be start advertising and do. I basically have taken both of these and been able to really in-depthly understand how well they work together. So, but for the sake of the now, I'm just going to look into, get some inspiration, get some and different energies and see too where it'll go, because sometimes our channels connect and it gets pretty interesting. Ruin for the room. I'm just surprised at everybody that showed up for this switch up. I mean, we've got 8 people watching right now, which is fabulous.
Nice. And we are going to do readings for the group afterwards.
And by the way,
Nice.
this is
All
my
right.
very safe, harmonious, LGBT positive. I love it. I got it from my
Yeah.
counselor service.
This is a
There,
safe space, y'all.
this is a safe space. Yeah.
So if you want to go ahead, or do you want me to tell you what I
No, I
pulled?
want you to go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no.
So first, I want to say that this is a brand new deck. It's not a new deck though; it's a vintage deck from 1984. I'm obsessed.
Mm.
I found it in a box. So we had this Fehu about the nourishment, and this was my question of moving forward. What is the energy of our quest? What is the energy of the journey we're about to go on? So it's getting nourishment, getting wishes fulfilled. And what is the challenge in this? It was the Death card and the Empress. Embracing your Empress and letting the old you be gone. Death, letting go of that space. It's like a death is a real extreme fool card because you already been in the journey, but you got to dead the old way of doing things to move into the next space and claim that Empress. So that's the challenge. And how do we overcome that challenge? Through balance, two of rods, kind of making a decision, having these picking a lane and going with it. Sometimes we have so many options that we choose nothing. And while the rush line is, if you choose not to decide, you've still made a choice. You've chosen to keep standing on the cliff and not move forward, which the Eight of Rods is about movement forward. So really picking a lane and then working on it. Eight of Pentacles is all about building, growing, perfecting your craft and moving forward in that space. That's how you overcome this challenge in deading the old you and embracing the Empress.
Yes, and I think when I'm looking at my cards here, we might want to as well prepare ourselves with a little bit of sacred ritual. So that could mean understanding the sacred is within you, appreciating your personal environment and the boundaries. Hello out there for we're at 10 people that showed up so far. This is amazing. Expressing your gratitude through taking care of your environment, looking at your environment as a reflection of yourself.
Yeah.
And with that, we're looking at a more truer sense of prosperity because much like in the Orient, right? They do believe in the feng shui of things. This is pretty. I love it. We got a genie in a bottle, and he's really sweet, and powerful. And so we're coming into that power of understanding how we circulate our energy within ourselves, our minds, and in our environments. And like I was saying about the feng shui of things is when we're moving and we're removing objects and we're letting go of the energy attached to that. And we talk about that by doing saging in an environment, or we talk about it by doing removal of energy blocks. Some buildings do need exorcisms. I have a friend in Toronto who left her full-time job and she does exorcisms 6 to 7 days a week. Yeah, that's how often people are looking for them now. And then we will end up in being able to see exactly what the well watcher knows what's in there. It's his job. He knows the sacred. He knows and he understands the meaning of things. But when you're coming upon it and you're asking, he's just going to give you a brief synopsis so that you understand yourself. So that I'm not doing the work for you, man. You need to understand what you need to change either in your environment or yourself in order to have a more beautifully relaxed life where you can see
And that's the
yourself
whole
and your
point. Yeah, and that's the whole point. Like that's why we keep going through this trial after trial after trial after trial. It's
yeah.
about the journey. It's about what you're learning as you're going along it. We've discussed this before. I believe that everything that we learn adds to the knowledge of the universe. The universe is always expanding. And because it's connected to all of us, we're all having like adding to this computer database of experiences as we are on this journey to truly connect as strongly and as deeply as we can. And I still believe something's going to pop when more of us are able to do that than not, and that we'll lift up. Rory Campbell used to talk about the net, that when you pull up the edges of the net, the people who are really like able to dig in and do like the hours of meditation or whatever. They're like at the top of the net pulling. But everybody's revelations, everybody's work, all the stuff we're doing is pulling the net up. But there's still some that are stuck down here in the water. And so we have to keep adding more energy, more light, more lift, more to pull everyone out of this, muck or whatever it is that they're swimming in, the fear, the separation from God. Like when you pull them out of the water, they are then united with oxygen, with the air that we breathe, with the
And
energy
that
of
is
life.
consciousness, and it is part of all matter and all reality. Sam says he would like a reading, which I think you could definitely
Yeah.
come out with.
Let's
Um,
do it.
I feel like I feel called to say and to understand with y'all that if every single entity is possibly able to do for themselves only what they feel they can do for themselves and be okay at it, that would be enough to keep everything on a positive level for the planet. The problem goes into after rescue, right? Like, because there's a lot of rescue necessary. There's a lot of orphan people. There's a lot of people in different demographics that suffer from not having company. There's a lot going on in the world. I work in, restoration and demolition of homes and catastrophic. So there's things that go on. But once we get into a stabilized state, the most important thing for any of us and all of us to do energetically is to stay in our own personal uniqueness and to grow on that, not placing the negative parameters that or anything, but just really appreciating and enjoying why you came and who you are. So I felt I needed to just put that into perspective, and it looks like if time allows. So we have our 2 for the day. So that's good.
Okay.
Anyone who's out there that would like readings, both of us are offering. You can find me at Designing Artists. That's my face page. And as well, Lee, she is going to be offering through your website or through
Anywhere, just reach out.
maybe
Okay,
on
Sam.
you can find her. Yeah. I
Mm-hmm.
think
UnleashYourLight.org is a good way to always connect with me. Unleash Your Light here on Facebook. I have a Facebook group. I have a YouTube channel that has 200 plus videos on it where I talk about this kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff there. And then there's free spiritual books on my website too that you can download, like the classics, like I never say it right, Bhagavad Gita
Gita.
and the Tao Che and the
The
I don't know, I
Gita.
got a couple there. Anyways, okay, so Sam, we got the Suelu. Also looks like Superman S. I felt like I needed to tell you that, plaster it on your chest. This talks about wholeness. This talks about bringing together all sides of you into one whole, and that whole coming together around the core of the universe, around that space in you that is connected to the universe. Now, this is paired with, in the overall energy, the Wheel of Fortune. So it speaks about, this is a whole, right? A full circle, that anything can happen. The Wheel of Fortune is always spinning, and being this whole person, this whole warrior, this space where you are at one with the universe and seeing it in all things, that spins that Wheel of Fortune for your adventure. The challenge is the Five of Swords. So your challenge is how you conflict with your own truth, whether to yourself or whether to others. The way that you speak it, the way that you want to speak it, there's some sort of a conflict in claiming this wholeness. And the way to overcome that is, first of all, they give me the High Priestess. You already know. You already know. She holds the secret, but it's the kind of secret that everybody already knows. Like the secret to the book, the secret is you have to believe it. Really, that's it? We made such a big deal over it. It's that simple. You just have to believe,
We're believing in it,
right?
whether we're conscious or unconscious, we're believing the reality we're seeing and we're accepting it.
Right. And that's the secret of the High Priestess, is that she knows that it's just a matter of belief. And this Five of Cups is the challenge to overcoming this. The way to overcome this is to not cry over the spilled wine, but rather to embrace the 2 cups back here, which 2 cups is union. 2 cups is union, either with self and another person, self and another self and a spiritual side of you. And it's really focusing on the 2 cups in the background and continuing the journey rather than this spilled wine. So that was for you, Sam.
I'm going to spill over one of these lovely chocolates.
Oh my gosh. Do we have another reading for me to pull for, or are you pulling a card?
No, I think Lisa said that she wanted one as well.
All right, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what message does she need to hear?
And Robin, nice to. Oh, by the way,
Hi, Robin.
Those plates that they're doing for their dimensional surfacing.
Oh.
That's
right. You were telling me about that the other day.
They do such an amazing job. Oh my God. It's inspired me to want to make my own. Like, I'll be teaching an art class, and you better bet that I will make my own. I think they're gorgeous what they do.
Yeah.
Sorry for my eating, but I can't help it sometimes. I get so much energy, and I got so much excitement. I get so hungry all at the same time.
You're like an athlete who needs to carb load after their performance.
I do, but I'm doing it while I'm performing. Sorry, guys.
Right? That's so funny. Okay. Challenge.
But it is a good advertisement for the company. I mean, these butter toffee hazelnut things, they're pretty delicious. We like them around here. I had the unique circumstances sharing in food with 2 of my tenancies, and oh boy, you get 3 foodies in one room.
Okay, Lisa, so you have laguz. Laguz is flow, it's water, it's that which conducts. And it's about the unseen powers that are nourishing, shaping, and connecting. It talks about fluidity, the ebb and flow of emotions, careers, and it speaks about immersing yourself in the experience of living without always having to understand why it's happening. Okay. You get in a car and turn it on, and you're not asking yourself the whole time, how is this thing moving? Oh my God, it's amazing. But we do that every time that miracles start to happen. Right. We do that every time we have an epiphany. We do that every time we see an entity. We do that every time we connect with the galactics going, oh my God, how and why is this happening? Rather than be in the moment of it. And that kind of takes us out. So this is really talking about, it's a rune of deep knowing, calling you to study spiritual matters in readiness for your own transformation or in continuation of that spiritual transformation. And it speaks about the conjunction or the sacred marriage between self and divine. That's the alchemy of it. So the energy of this laguz, the overall energy is that Ace of Pentacles. Aces are always about divine gifts, and pentacles are basically money, security, stability, that sort of thing.
I love that.
And so this laguz is flowing you with this Ace of Pentacles. So this is what the universe is trying to bring you. The universe is trying to give you this. So what the challenge is in you receiving this, number one, is the way that you deliver your truth. You come in gangbusters on a horse with a shiny sword that makes a little sparkly thing up here. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's awesome to be passionate. And whether you're doing this outwardly or at yourself, sometimes we put expectations on ourselves. I need to meditate 3 hours a day for the next 6 weeks to do this thing. And we charge in gangbusters, and we end up actually missing what the universe is trying to give us. We have these 3 cups here in the front, which is like working with other people and trying to do what everyone else is doing. But your actual divine offering is in this cup, coming from the hand of divine.
Oh my
and
God,
you're refusing
I love
to look at
4
that.
cups.
And that comes within you. That comes from within you. That comes from the Empress within, the 9 of Pentacles, which if you notice, we do have two sets of pentacles in this reading, claiming your Empress, claiming that beautiful bird that is wild and yet comes to you, claiming that energy and that flow. That is Ace of Pentacles energy. And how you can overcome these challenges. I find this one really funny because So your challenge is that you come in pissed off, shining with the light of God. And the way you overcome that is to come in a little more tentatively, maybe a little more gentle. It's the Page of Swords. He brings a message, but he's the guy that comes and maybe he's got a little horn and he just speaks the message a little bit and he's just really gentle with it. So maybe shift with yourself even, that if you
Yeah.
can just do one bite, one little message of your, stuff per day. So,
Nice. Central
so I
time.
hope that helped you. I hope that resonated
Yes,
with you.
with
I would love to
Jennifer. I know
hear.
we have Jennifer here today. She seems to be really,
Jen!
and she pulled a view in her view there. She has a lotus flower, I think, coming in. Would Jennifer, if you're out there, would you like a reading as well? Robin, are you still there? Would you like a reading?
We
We
have
have
time for
time.
some more, huh? Very
Yeah,
good.
I find with that trickling effect that we had like that really dynamic energy and then the coming into like how you could make it to um, something that's more able to be communicated
Yeah.
within yourself, right?
Yeah.
That can really help the density and the negativity you might be taking on or experiencing because the reaction of the negativity, yes, she says yes, but the reaction of your negativity or what you're reacting to, which is negative or you're getting off track,
Yeah.
needs more soothing than it needs, right? Within
Right.
yourself,
And
right?
I
So if
think
you,
the way to do that is to really focus on when you are speaking your truth. Where is it coming from? Is it coming from, I'm going to prove my point? Is it coming from, I need to show myself that I can do this? Is it coming from
mhm,
an ego based, a validation place, a I need the approval of others base? You really have to look at where what you're speaking is coming from,
mhm,
because that tints how it's received, because your
mhm,
intention is infused. And if parts of your intention are to heal this broken piece of you by sharing this with somebody else, that's an intention that's not going to get the same
oh,
response from the person. And you're going to attract someone who's in a different space of the message that's going to get
mhm,
something completely different from what we're intending and saying.
mhm. But in that we gain wisdom, right? Like the wisdom card came up
Yeah.
for me as well. We have to fall over and over and get back up in order to understand being on the path. And the path is trotted over billions of years of existences from here to I don't know where in the universe there's a language we're speaking which is understood on many, many levels. It may
Yeah.
not speak entirely the same. It may actually speak in its own silence, but as promoters of wise thinking and understanding the self, the journey is endless. So as long as you pick yourself back up and dust yourself off and be like, I can really love the place I'm in now. All of the grunt work, all of the unfortunate, so-called unfortunacies, they're just dust in the wind. It's gone. It's over. So don't attach to it. Love the person who you are now because you're in a different version of self, accepting more for yourself and loving yourself more fully.
Wow.
And
Okay.
y'all happen here. So happy to catch you. Thank you. We miss you too, Luke. Like I want to start the class up again. I really do.
All right. I have Jen's reading. It took a minute. It took a minute. Hi,
Kathy wants one
Kathy.
too, so I think we're going to be busy here. Oh, it looks like Michelle wants one too. I mean, we can go for a minute if you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Jen, you got Degaz. Degaz is the rune of breakthrough and transformation, basically a brand new day. And it talks about it's one of the last in the cycle that signals major shifts and breakthroughs in your process of self change. Something so huge, it's like a radical 180 degrees turn, which, if you look at this little bow tie, if you follow it, it's like a really sharp turns. You're literally going to a different space. And I pulled with it the malachite. So like there is so much protection in stepping through this gateway, even though the gateway is shrouded in a fear, shrouded in a huge, huge fear, as your warrior nature is revealed. So what is the energy over all of this? Six of Pentacles. This generosity in familiarity, in the things that comfort us the most tend to be family based, and the things that have hurt us the most tend to be family based. And that's what this breakthrough is all about, is embracing that's this energy. And you have to know that you're protected as you go through the process of really releasing that ego part, going up the little garage thing. So when I say the challenge, so the interesting thing for me is that the challenge is the Six of Cups, which speaks about generosity to your family. So your challenge is that you're giving outwardly rather than inwardly. You're allowing this. This is my comfortable place. This is what makes me feel good. This is my familiar, to help the family, and that's your challenge as well. Is that you put yourself in these places and you help the family while you're not facing the thing. So, how do we overcome that? They
Well, I
told me a
don't
story.
understand, because when you said family, the lady of the gift crept up, and that's generosity, receiving, and withholding. Maybe you want to consider how much you're giving to your own personal space versus family, and if you're overdoing it. That came up for
Yeah,
me, right? That there's
yeah,
a natural movement of yourself that needs to come in, and a little more of this patience, and sitting by the tree. Again, that's another Buddhist ideal, is being able
yeah,
to really sit with the universal force. So when we're near a tree or we're initiating contact with nature and in stillness, we're actually taking in what is called universal force.
yeah. Yeah, and I felt targeted by a meme the other day that I think is applicable right here, and it said something to the effect of, uh, "Is me turning on Netflix and chilling actually me dissociating from the pain I'm going through, or am I relaxing?" And so I really think it's important to pay attention to that for you specifically in this space. So here's the message from the universe in a sentence of how you overcome the challenge of
Mm,
overgiving to family and undergiving to yourself.
mm,
Because that's the transformation right there. That's the gateway. Okay. So the high priestess, you already know. That's all the secrets you already know. You already know what you have to do, but you have to become the emperor, this detachment and the masculine self accountability, the strength, the will to choose to step into a space that is more detached and is looking out for number one. Because one thing the emperor is very self-focused, not at a narcissistic level to a point, but it can feel that way because of the level of objective detachment. You need to embrace this a little bit, because this is going to give you the stability that you need as you make your decision. Okay. As you make your decision, whatever that is, your blind decision. And honestly, it doesn't matter which way you choose. You're going to go on an adventure. It's like a choose your own adventure book, right? You're going to go on an adventure either way, and you want to make good choices and get as far as you can to the end of the book. But sometimes you screw up
I
and
got a
you
card
end up,
that popped up.
okay, good. Sometimes you have to go back to the beginning or to the part where you made the wrong decision because you chose incorrectly, you know?
So it may also be good for you to, if you can't communicate with spirit yourself, we do. The Hawk Prince is paying attention and communicating with spirit. So if you would like lessons on communicating with spirit, or if you would like a spiritual reading, you're welcome to contact either one of us, because that was a card that came up, the Hawk Prince.
Very interesting. What are the words? What does it say? The
It
words on the front of
says
the card.
spirit communication and paying attention.
Open your ears.
Yeah.
Give to yourself. Listen to the message that's coming for you.
Creating sacred space. I'm going to go with understanding your inner dimensions, how they reflect on
Yeah.
your outer reality, what you're holding as reality, and what's really true for you. And the
Yeah.
more that we let go of what we think we need, and we actually get to what we want for our bodies and ourselves on the inside, we can
Yeah.
change the storyline, and we can change our timeline, and then we can project into, a light force that might be working for us with the densities and the darknesses maybe one has taken on throughout these times.
Absolutely.
And she's thinking
Stepping
she's
right
having
into
a
that
massive
emperor
breakthrough.
power. Perfect. All right, who was next? This is probably the last one, or do we have two more?
I think we agreed to two more.
You got it. Peace,
Because I
y'all.
think, were we doing Michelle? Or, because
Sure.
I don't know, because I think, yeah, so Jennifer came in first, and then Kathy and Michelle. So we have two more to do.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
So
So we'll go with
Michelle Vasquez is
Kathy.
the next one.
So Kathy was before Michelle.
Okay, Kathy. Kathy. All right.
Yeah.
Room for what Kathy is stepping into next. What is her path? What does she need to hear right now? Okay.
Yeah, I think, I don't know
Interesting.
why, but I'm getting an art project coming in my mind all of a sudden. I guess I'll figure it out later. I'll go cleaning something and then I'll figure out because today's my big cleaning day of the week. Does anybody else out there do that? Just get real nitty gritty with everything we think we own and we want to own and just start letting go and releasing, building on new possibilities, getting out of the old paradigm of waiting to that holiday to do it or waiting for someone else to be there to do it, getting out of that sticky mess of, traffic even and spending more time with yourself.
Very interesting.
Wow, we got eagle, eagle twice in a row. Wow, wing it and wing it. A lot of wing it. A lot of wing it going on here. Maybe a wing it past life for this lady. I'm hearing maybe.
And I had one fly, so I gotta try to. Let's see. I'm all like tucked in back here, so I gotta try to get this. Hold on. We're getting it. There we go. It's just the floor. You've touched it many times. Okay. Here we go. There we go. Will you put her little comment up there again? So that way she knows we're talking to her in case she had looked away or stepped away.
Okay, sure.
Thanks, Jen.
Yes.
There we go. Okay, Kathy. So you got Theresa's. Now, whereas Jen's was the gateway, like movement
Right.
and transformation, yours is the gateway and the place of non-action, connected to the god Thor. Mm-hmm. And it talks about the pause that you take to reassess before you step through that gateway. It speaks about an acknowledgement of your readiness from a place of non-action. And that is a step beyond being ready, is when you're ready for nothing. So it says to visualize yourself standing before a gateway on a hilltop and everything lies behind you and below. So before you step through, pause and reflect on your past, on your joys, on your victories. Observe it, bless it, release it all, because in releasing it, you reclaim your power and you step through that gateway. So, and the overall energy of this, the energy that's coming through with this is that you're almost battling to maintain your position, that you have gained a certain level of understanding and knowledge or whatever it is in this situation, and you constantly feel like you're fighting off the past, the negativity, the challenges to your belief systems, all these things, regular life. You're constantly like battling just to maintain status quo. Like when you see a tug of war and everybody's dug in, but it's not moving at all. That's what this Seven of Wands is feeling like with this place of non-action, is this fight. And so the challenge in that fight is judgment. The challenge of what's keeping you in this fight is judgment of self,
which is like
judgment of how you're seen.
So the illusions, right? So like as you're using your different states of mind, you're not being mindful of how you're viewing reality, and you're holding on to them as illusions, creating it and matrixing against yourself instead of
releasing this judgment. Yeah, for sure. Releasing this judgment, releasing it, letting go of it within yourself, the need for approval for others.
And
That's going to
again,
help you
the
to
bar
look up.
maps. Wow.
Yes, that's going to help you to look up and see this cup that's being offered to you rather than
The
crying
divine cup.
over these things that you've gained so far. Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have to lose some ground. Again, back to a tug of war game. Sometimes you'll see them reposition and lose a few feet, but that repositioning allows them to get better leverage, and then they yank the other people over the line, right? So it's really
Yeah.
saying that the space for you to be in is to
Hmm.
create this plan, to really stick to this plan and to fake it till you make it. The rods,
Mm.
the wands are really about making a plan and doing it even when it doesn't look like your message is getting through, even when it seems like things are going in the wrong direction, and sitting in this energy of what you're creating for yourself, this generosity that you're giving yourself, this space of self understanding that is going to allow you to hold on to that belief of you're ready for this transformation. You're standing at that gate, looking and knowing that's not how I want to be, or this is how I want to move forward, looking at the past, shifting your plan, sticking by it, believing it 100% with everything that you have through love of your
But
family,
also
through
what
love
I'm
of
seeing
yourself.
here too, because it is through love, but there's a tremendous amount of angelic help available to her. Like the angels came up on both sides of the beginning and end of the story for her. So she might want to help herself in divining to understanding the blessings of the angelic, which are manyfold. She has to open up to that, and open up to being receptive to the energy of divine love.
Which is
Capsule.
exactly what we were talking about earlier, was letting go of that monkey mind stuff
Yeah, because she got it
and
twice, like
opening
and
yourself.
lots of wingedness. So I'm just gonna
Mm,
say, I think that's definitely a winged past life. She might have had an elemental past life. Like I just sensed that right away. So yeah.
very interesting. Very
Hmm.
interesting. All right, who's next? Who is
And
the
for the
final
last
reading
but
for
not
today?
least, Michelle will be here with us.
Michelle. All right. So let's get a rune for Michelle. What does Michelle need to hear about this journey forward? All right. Ophelia. Ophelia is the rune of separation. So let's take a look at what
Kathy as well.
jumps out
Thank
at
you,
me.
Kathy. Kathy as well, if you want any divine lessons where we can personalize what might help you connect to the angelic, what that represents for you, and maybe with some of my deep understanding of that. We could do that kind of work if you're interested. Just give me a message on Designing Artist.
And we started off the whole show talking about how whatever path works for you is great,
Mhm.
whether it's angels or aliens or
Or
crystals or
whether it's
dancing naked
Fred.
in the moonlight, Fred, Gaia, source, whatever works for you is beautiful. Okay,
Mm.
tell me about this Ophelia for the show. She need another one? Yeah, she does. Okay. And what is her challenge? These cards are so happy to be used. Oh my goodness. And how can she overcome this challenge on her path forward? How can
Oh, we have
Michelle
Robin
overcome this?
Walters Dykes here.
Very
Nice.
interesting.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
So let's get this message to you. Before I give this message, I'm going to give my speech.
Fred
Um,
is my dad. Aw, Kathy. I refer to Fred and I'll find it in the weirdest senses in churches and different places. Like it's been so weird ever since we've said Fred. Like,
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. Call it God, call it Gaia, call it Source, call it Creator, call it Fred. It doesn't make a difference as long as you're seeking. That's just whatever you want to, it's all the same energy. You could connect to it. There's 9,000 names for God.
yeah.
Okay, Michelle, if you could put Michelle's little comment back up there while I do this, that would be very helpful for me.
Okay, for sure.
Thank you. Okay, so this is separation, retreat, and inheritance. And it talks about separating old ways, old skins must be shed, outmoded, relationships discarded. And that was actually in the reading for the room where we talked about deading your old self, deading your old ways as you step into new intention, to new understanding, to new belief, new core belief. But this also in this reading for me, there's a tinge of the physical in some sort of gain or loss here. And the separation is what is called for you to become and for you to exercise your free will, and to more fully become who you are. So the energy around this Othela, this separation, this retreat, this pause, this moment of submission and understanding that through the submission and the knowledge of the outcome being everything right, everything the way that it should be, you activate this power. So with this energy, we got two very interesting battling energies, which literally is the devil, which talks about addictive, obsessive patterns, which is what we're trying to dead, right? So it's this energy along with the magician, which is that magician is like Fabio extraordinaire. If you don't know who Fabio is, because you're a youngin', you need to look up Fabio. He was on every romance book cover.
It reminds
back
me of
in the
those
80s,
romance
right?
novels.
Right?
Yeah.
Look at that hair. That is
I
Fabio.
remember this summer, I was young. I was given a box of those by somebody. It was so funny reading those. Oh my God. That was
So you
so
have this
funny.
energy of this space of separation where you are literally letting go of the patterns and creating the energy through this separation from your old ways, from your old thoughts, from your old patterns.
And I'm going
Now,
back to even Stream of David recent. I watched parts of it. There was a enough is enough, and it's good to be an enough sort of platform going there. Like realize that in everything it is enough, and not downplay your personal situation, whether it looks like how you want it or not. Giving it that deep appreciation where you're like, that's exactly what's going on right now, and I know it, and I love it, and it's just love it as it is. Let it go.
yeah, yeah, that's a hard one for sure, but true. Because the challenge is literally
Well,
what you
we're
just
doing a different
said.
exercise here, right? Like, or we're exercising a different muscle.
That's cute, though. Used to joke about him being teen because he rides in our pocket like Jiminy
Oh, he can
Cricket,
come
Jiminy
along for the
Cricket.
ride. Is the ride coming?
So this challenge that you go through is literally what Nicole was just talking about, was this miserly holding on to your old ways, conserving, because if you don't have that story, if you don't have that pain, what are you? Do you know what you are when you're not carrying the burden of
Mm.
all that has happened to you, all that you are holding on to so tightly? And the way to overcome this, we have the Nine of Pentacles, embracing your Empress. That's the unconditional love. And in your case, they want you to battle for everything that you've already gained and to give yourself the acknowledgement that you gained that. You went through the fights, you went through the hard stuff, you've been working on it, you've been doing your stuff. Acknowledge that and stand firm in your belief in that literal creating that energy from the magician, like being the confident one that's stepping into this new way and deading the old.
And the magician sign too. We were doing some research on subconscious, unconscious mind. Me and a friend are writing a book, and it was the infinite sign that she used, and
Yeah,
that
it's
she had
on the card.
acknowledged within the infinite there was a point, which is right in the middle, which is where you're usually landing in order to understand, and then you're using that in order to create magic or not. So if your understanding and your wisdom is going in there and creating, like that other card, I think it was the Four of Pentacles, was the
Yeah,
Four of Pentacles, right? Where he's still leaning on his issues and he's still not getting off the shit or get off the pot. Like, you need to do something with yourself, go to work, have some fun,
yeah,
make a meal, do something in a positive manner. Then, yeah, you're not seeing the possibility of that magic. If you're in that state, how are you going to use your personal magic? You're
right.
still lamenting and thinking, oh, God damn, it just isn't what I need it to be. Or I'm too afraid to get over there about it with myself, right?
1,000%.
Fully, fully and completely, because then once you're using divine magic, like that Four of Cups kept, oh, I love that Four of Cups. Get that
Yes.
tattooed on my butt. Like, that one just says it all, right? It
Yeah.
says exactly what you are. Once you are holding that divine cup,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Absolutely.
Wow, that was amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for letting me read for you. I hope that connected.
Michelle says the Visca Pisces. That's, oh yeah, the Visca Pisces, which is the infinite. Very good, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was and they even teach it in art, funny enough. So that was quite the show, Lee.
Yes, we've been on a little bit of a hiatus, but
I know.
we're
And you know
gonna.
what? I think it was good for us. Personal growth was like seriously strong.
Oh
And
yeah,
I see a version coming forward that's just going to be way better than what we could do before.
very good. Go back and watch it again in about an hour, and then go back and watch it again tomorrow, because you're gonna get more out of it the longer it sits in you without thinking about it. Watch it, don't examine it. Watch it again, don't examine it. Watch it again, and it's going to get into your psyche, and you're going to see where it fits. You're going to see exactly that space.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that specifically for you, Michelle. I don't know why, that you need to watch it multiple times. Okay. Okay, good. I don't like, the universe just says things to me, and I just repeat them, and they specifically said tell her to watch it several times. So
Right. And so with that, with the watching it and loving oneself, like if you just look even at what we're curating here, we have awesome energy, y'all intentions,
thanks,
blessings.
Robin.
In this time moment, in this present moment now, right here and now, we are co-creating and curating with one another, and we're enjoying the energy of understanding, the energy of being confident, the energy of, changing lives and orchestrating things in worlds and dimensions beyond. Whether y'all can see them or not, as a seer, I can gently guide you. So if you want, definitely hook up on Designing Artists and let me know if you would like a personal reading. I'll be giving them personally, intimately, with a little bit of a previous sort of paperwork detail before I go in with y'all, so that I can really get to know you and help your path and give you the insights that are necessary. Right? Like we want to work in these energies. We want to be a part of what it means to see everyone come forward in their divining, in the ability to do it for yourself, in the ability to
Yeah.
see yourself in the light and to see the whole vortex you're creating in, and
Yeah.
be able to accept it and as a beautiful, lovely, everyday process, like putting on your shoes.
I love that.
Yeah.
And if y'all want to catch up with me, you can go to unleashyourlight.org. I have tons of videos there. I have tons of information on everything from awakening to forgiveness to anger to watching the news to not watching the news to self love to unconditional love. Bloody, bloody, bloody. Over 200 videos. And reach out to me if you have any questions. And I
Yeah.
always say, do you have anything else before I do our little send off?
I just want to say to everyone, it's so lovely to be back. It's so
Yes.
lovely to understand what our potentials are, and we're going to be doing this. So I feel comfortable with this time, and I think we're just going to have to put that into cement.
Beautiful. All right,
But
excellent.
we love you,
Well, yes, and you are beloved, you matter, and you are so very loved.
right? Everybody, keep journeying on and get in that Four Cups mode. Remember, the divine is always offering you something. You just have to see
That's
it.
right. That's right.
So everyone, take care and see you next week.